half of the hundreds of private wells tested across the capital had E. coli. Stay tuned for the details. Also, quick action of firefighters put students out of harm's way after a fire broke out in the portion of Uriah McPhee. The Bahamas Tonight at 11 starts now. Good evening, everyone. I'm Royston Jones, and this is the Bahamas Tonight at 11. Chair of the Clearing Banks Association, Gowan Bow, revealing bankers in the country have suffered significant losses since the COVID-19 pandemic, prompting a recent increase in banking fees. In fact, he says the industry has just regained its footing for the first time in nearly 2 decades. His comments came during an appearance on The Rundown with Clint Watson, in which he sought to defend a new increase in fees, lamenting banks have faced twin calamities in being able to afford its day-to-day operations while attempting to manage a loss in revenue.
Bank profitability has only just recovered since 2008, which is 15 years now, including hurricanes, including COVID, etc., to now levels that they were at 2008. So there were an extended period of reduced profitability. But I want to draw this sort of knowledge piece that banks take risk because the shareholders, when they say to management, this is money for you to go and lend, and we take depositors' money to go and lend, if the borrowers do not repay, there's a risk of loss because it's unlike a food store or a normal retail store. When you sell the good, the only thing you're losing is the value of that good. However, when you think about a bank and I lend you $100,000, do I earn $100,000 or I just earn the interest?
You earn the interest.
But if you don't pay, do I just lose the interest or do I lose the $100,000 plus the interest?
You lose $100,000.
So it is an exponential loss.
The fact that Powerhouse America averted a recession in 2023 is said to bode well for its soft landing this year. But according to Central Bank Governor John Roll, the Bahamas also stands to benefit in a huge way.
The U.S. is in a much better position in terms of getting beyond the inflation challenge without going into any significant economic downturn. That is a positive for the Bahamas. The experience that the Bahamas has had in the past is that our economic downturns tend to be longer than whatever the United States experiences. And to the extent that often when the U.S., by the time the U.S. has gotten into a recession, the Bahamas typically has found itself on the leading end, meaning that its economy would have slowed down even more than the U.S. would have experienced. And as the U.S. recovers, we tend to see that the recovery in the Bahamas is a bit light relative to what's happening in the U.S. And that reflects the fact that a country that's going through a recession, it's also having an impact on its citizens' ability to spend on travel and related areas.
And while the local economy is growing, Roll says here's what should be considered.
We are not growing at the same rate as we would have experienced, say, in 2023 or 2022. But that is not a bad thing. What it means is that in the previous 2 years, some of that growth momentum really reflected the fact that we were rebounding from the COVID-19 setback. And so you had a lot of, pent-up, unsatisfied demand for travel. So that's working its way out of the system. We still have some of that benefit in 2024. What we're saying now is that those sort of effects have largely worked their way through the system. And as a result, what you're seeing now is a rate of growth in the Bahamas that reflects a lot more the underlying economic conditions.
The Prime Minister, the Honorable Philip Davis, revealing that more than half of the country's national debt can be attributed to the expenditure and borrowing related to Hurricane Dorian, which tore through parts of the country 5 years ago. His comments came while addressing participants of the International Black Men Empowerment Summit, where he told attendees climate change is not just a present threat, but in fact a crisis. It follows his recent trip to New York, where he was the keynote speaker at the opening ceremony of Climate Week NYC.
the loss and damage to my country and my economy was $3.4 billion in a space of 4 days that it passed through my islands. My annual revenue is only about $2.9 billion. So you see. And then what the Global North tells me, my country is a high-income country, so I'm not entitled to get any grants. I can't get concessionary loans. They want to issue me green bonds, but that's borrowing monies. So I have to borrow, and I'm in this vicious cycle of borrowing to rebuild and recover, increasing and accumulating debt upon debt, distracting needed funds for me to develop my country, uplift my people, provide the social services that they require, and yet still they sit idly by and continue to talk.
New at 11, male high school students today were given an opportunity to get up close and personal with local and international black male leaders during a Black Man's Empowerment Summit hosted by the local chapter of the prestigious Morehouse College and Toastmasters Club 1600. Among the presenters today were Prime Minister Philip Davis, Bishop Neil Ellis, Carlos Palacios, renowned philosopher Dr. Cornel West, and media host Dr. Rashad Ritchie.
I want them to see the example, be the example, execute the example, and repeat the cycle to make sure somebody else shows their worth by being the example that they saw in them.
I would hope that they would take away the sense that they have a greater sense of self-respect, a greater sense of self-trust, a greater sense of self-determination, and a sense of wanting to serve others so that they have a moral and spiritual greatness in their minds.
President of the local chapter of Morehouse College and event organizer Mark Hume said his organization teamed up with Toastmasters Club 1600 because of their shared goals.
This is very much in line not only with Morehouse, but we're partnering with Toastmasters Club 1600, and their goal and mission is the same. It's all about how do we empower, how do we uplift our young men in our society. That's a major cry in our society about what's happening with our young men, so we wanted to take an initiative to try and see how we can help.
A recent study conducted by the Inter-American Development Bank showing that following the testing of hundreds of private wells across the capital, a serious concern is developing, with the consequence being gastrointestinal illness. Devontae Hanna has those details.
The numbers are alarming. As an IDB report reveals, 61% of 400 private water wells tested in New Providence by the Water and Sewage Corporation contain E. coli, and 86% said to be contaminated with coliform.
I just use it to bathe with, and if I cook with it, I boil it. I need to do something about it, because it ain't good to be having that, and then some people just drink that water and things.
E. coli is a bacterium that can cause severe stomach cramps, diarrhea, and vomiting. Experts warn that the presence of E. coli indicates contamination by human or animal waste.
Part of it is because of the septic tanks leaking into the water table, and it's a situation that has never been addressed.
Environmentalist Sam Duncombe says it's an age-old problem now, sparking new conversation about the need for robust regulation and oversight of private water systems.
Everybody talks, nobody does anything, and at the end of the day, it's the regular consumer that is being affected. That is really the main problem here. Mm-hmm. It's the impact to human health.
Some residents even taking matters into their own hands to clean their water.
I am concerned, but we use the tablet, the chlorine tablets, and we put it in the drain and thing at times. So, yeah, it ain't really too much a concern.
Attempts to reach officials from the Water and Sewage Corporation were unsuccessful. For the Bahamas Tonight, I'm Devontae Hanna.
The Bahamas Bureau of Standards and Quality hosted Minister of Economic Affairs, Senator the Honorable Michael Halkitis, at a board meeting held at their Bacardi Road headquarters. During the meeting, Minister Halkitis highlighted the Bureau's essential role in maintaining quality and safety standards across the Bahamas. He emphasized the importance of quality promotion, raising awareness about these efforts, and encouraging stronger collaboration with both government and private sector partners to promote quality standards. Every Bahamian swimming, that charge by Education Minister the Honorable Glenys Hannah Martin at the Clifton Global Initiative Leadership Stage this afternoon in New York. The Education Minister says this platform is the way of life for Bahamians, as the Bahamas is an archipelago of 700 islands, where 95% of our country is ocean territory. She later credited the country's ongoing efforts to combat climate change.
Every Bahamian swimming is a crucial part of this mission. Swimming is essential to our national development. Currently, most Bahamians are not swimmers, yet 97% of Bahamians believe it is an essential life skill for their children. Our stunning beaches and vibrant marine life are not only the pride of our nation, but the foundation of our economy. Prime Minister Davis has spoken passionately over the past few years about our vulnerability to the impact of climate change, and also to the exciting potential of a future rooted in the blue economy.
Still to come, an early day for students of Uriah McPhee Primary School after the quick efforts of firefighters. You're watching the Bahamas Tonight at 11. More news in just a moment.
In the chaos of our daily lives, it's easy to be caught up in the rush. But when you're behind the wheel, remember, rushing can lead to disaster. Don't rush. Take your time. Remember, your life and others depends on it. Slow down. Stay alert and arrive alive. Because in the race of life, it's not about how fast you get there, but how safely.
This message is brought to you by Commonwealth Bank, leader in personal banking services.
This portion of the news is brought to you by Bahamas Striping Group of Companies.
The quick action of staff at Uriah McPhee Primary School helped safeguard students on Tuesday after a fire broke out in the utility room at the school. Firefighters arrived on campus shortly after the fire broke out, but one of the staff members also used a fire extinguisher ahead of their arrival to prevent the small fire from spreading. Notably, the fire broke out as the public schools observed Fire Drill Week.
I was on my way down to the assembly where all of the students and faculty were gathered, and I smelled the smoke. We were on the first floor, and I proceeded to investigate. I was able to see that there was a fire in the back area of the center, and so I immediately went down, alerted Ms. Brown to the fact that there was a fire, and went back to attack the fire.
We had a fire drill on Thursday at 9:30. We was in the parking lot under 3 minutes, so we were well prepared for this morning. So thank God we had the fire drill.
Fortunately, no lives were lost and no one was injured as the blaze was contained in just one area of the building. However, due to the heavy smoke, school was dismissed early. Director of Education Dominique McCartney noted that classes would resume virtually on Wednesday.
Once we would have accounted for those, the staff and students, we would have allowed those parents to take their children. We would have called the vendors as well to come. We were advised that we are not able to hold school tomorrow in the face-to-face environment, and so we're going to get a professional company to come in tomorrow and clean the area, and of course we will advise parents when school will take place face-to-face.
The Us Too Prostate Cancer Support Group hosting a seminar with the intention to educate the Bahamian population on the condition and emphasize the importance of early detection. 1 in every 6 Bahamian men is at risk of having prostate cancer, a cancer that ranks #1 in the country and puts the Bahamas in the top 10 of the highest cases around the world. Despite the startling figures, medical practitioner Dr. Robin Roberts shares a silver lining.
There's been so many advances in treating prostate cancer that even those men that have advanced prostate cancer, that we are now talking about extending their lives 5 years and more. So prostate cancer has become a chronic disease as we have for HIV and AIDS. But the real message is that we don't want men to present with advanced disease. We want them to come when their disease is early, when it can't be detected, when everything feels normal. And that can only occur if the men are getting their blood tests, the PSA, every year from the time they reach 40.
Executive Chairman of the Public Parks and Beaches Authority, Mikhail Bonnaby, paying a visit to local beach vendors today. The stroll on Goodman's Bay was all in an effort to acknowledge the hard work and contribution of vendors to tourism, the country's #1 industry.
It's very important to support our local entrepreneurs. They drive our economy. Small businesses are a high percentage of what our economy is built up. The tourism numbers has ballooned. We're up to 9 million tourists, so that has to be commensurate with the amount of vendors that we have on the beach to capture some of that economic activity. We're doing testing to make sure that we need to see where we need to grow our numbers, find out exactly where we put them logistically, and to make sure that everyone gets a slice of the pie.
Vendors JJ and Cassandra Mama D Newbold have been on the beach for over 30 years.
That's what they come for. They come to see the Bahamian thing. They come to hang out, chill out with the locals, see what we have to offer. So the tourist response is good.
It's been a journey. Some days it's rough. You know, some days you make sales, some days you don't. It's just slow, but just being in the atmosphere is awesome. We love it. 9 to 5 don't work for us, because we just love what we do.
Marcellus Hall has a look at what's coming up in sports.
Coming up in sports for tonight, we'll take a look at championship action. Bahamas Government League Basketball Association championships are all done. Details ahead in sports.
You've got termites and need to get rid of them fast? Trust Rentokil Initial. With over 60 years experience in the Bahamas, the global brand, training, and expertise can't be beat. Only Rentokil Initial gives you a 3-year warranty and payment plan options on termite fumigation. No one can match the range of treatments we offer, such as fumigation, pre-construction treatments, termite monitoring, and more. No matter where you are in the Bahamas, we will come to you. When it comes to complete termite eradication, there's only one name, Rentokil Initial.
Well, welcome to your ZNS Total Sports Check, everybody. I'm Marcellus Hall. Here's what's going on for you. Bahamas Government Departmental Basketball Association Championships in action last night. Donald Davis Gym, Crime Stoppers looking to close out against the Nassau Flight Service Ballers. Did they get it done? Well, Amajal Knowles tells the story.
Win and live to fight another day, lose and watch your season come to an end. That was the reality last night for the Nassau Flight Services Ballers as they played a do-or-die Game 4 in the Government League Basketball Championships. The Police Crime Stoppers looking for the outright sweep. To the hardwood, it would look like the Stoppers would be the team with their backs against the walls as they would come out firing on all cylinders, leading by as many as 22 points. But late in the third, the Ballers, they would show some resolve, cutting that once double-digit lead to as little as 9. But that is as close as they would get. The Crime Stoppers just too much to handle. 25 points from Kirkland Farrington and 22 from Dion McPhee. They would pop open those bottles of champagne and cruise to the 91-79 win.
I want to congratulate my weighty opponents, the airport authority, not Flight Services Ballers. Hell of a team. They had a hell of a run for the first year. But I want to give God thanks for what he has done for the Crime Stoppers. We haven't been a championship from 2006. From 2016. All right, so it's been a long time coming. But now I'm younger now, with people like Craig Farrington and Adam Johnson. We have gone young. So, hey, our game plan was the same from the beginning of the playoff. We wanted to play all of those, our opponents, play man with them. No zone. Zone was lazy man defense. We know we had the better team. We know we had a better bench. So what we did was tied them out. And in the fourth quarter, we won all the games.
Team performance, we dug deep. It wasn't easy. No closeout games, normally the hardest. My guys suck it up. They dug deep. And we really wanted, we was hungry. And we got it done.
Tell me a bit about the obviously youthful movement, a few younger players, and tell me a bit about the impact.
Yeah, young guys, they really stepped up to the plate. we did what we had to do, and you know, they just piggyback off our energy. They brought the energy straight up from jump. I told number 11, he's one of our younger players. I said, listen, we riding with you. And he said, yeah, let's go. And I went with him.
Obviously, our parents always haven't won a championship. I think it's since 2016. How sweet does it feel?
This one feels sweet. 8 years. 8 years, long waiting, 8 years. We finally get it done. To God be all the glory.
Again, this was the Crime Stoppers' first title win in nearly a decade. And with a new crop of young talent, the team says their plans are now to establish a dynasty. For ZNS Total Sports, I'm Amajal Knowles.
Meanwhile, local tennis news now. Perry Newton is the president of the Bahamas Lawn Tennis Association. He's been making an impact both here locally and internationally. That's right, internationally as well, because he's the president of COTEC, and that is one of the governing bodies for tennis here in the local region. Now, he says being president has certainly been a validation for him, knowing that he's now put in the work and seeing the results.
Being active really helps, and I've attended a lot of the AGMs, whether it was the ITF AGM or the COTEC AGM. And, you know, when I came into office, it was during the pandemic. So a lot of the things that we did, a lot of the meetings were actual virtual. So, you know, getting up 5 o'clock, you know, when the meeting's in another part of the world, it takes a lot out of you. And, but it's really good to see, you know, your colleagues from around the world place confidence in you to represent them on that national and regional scene.
And last but not least, high school sports back underway in the private schools. Baseball being played for the first time. Senior boys action yesterday. Taking a look at the scores. Kingsway taking down Nassau Christian Schools 8-2. Temple Christian winners over Life at Key 11-4. QC, they edged St. John's 5-4. Sorry, that's 4-3. And SAC with the easy win as they take down the Aquinas Aces 13-1. Ends up being your final score there. Baseball action will continue throughout the course of this week. Well, that's your check on sports for you here tonight. We do have our weather report just ahead. Stay with us.
Over a decade ago, the Bahamas Striping group of companies was birthed out of a passion to change the way we travel. From only a $5,000 grant, the tenacity and work ethic has propelled BSGC to one of the leading road management companies in the Caribbean. We pride ourselves on going the extra mile where others won't, through the use of our state-of-the-art equipment and our certified team. Although the success is commendable, the road has been long. Yet, the mission continues in striving to be a world-class organization ran by Bahamians for Bahamians. With the help of our experienced and hardworking team, we at the Bahamas Striping group of companies are committed to making a difference, one road at a time.
It's time now for a weather check with Chief Meteorologist Basil Dean. Basil?
Good evening, Royston. We'll get you started in the tropics as usual, and we continue to monitor Helene, which is now packing winds of 60 miles per hour as it moves towards the west, northwest at about 12 miles per hour. And this system could become a major hurricane by Thursday before it make landfall near Tallahassee on Thursday night. And in the far eastern Atlantic, another area, very impressive looking system. Right now, we're giving it a 50% chance of developing, and that could bump up to 80% over the next 7 days. So we'll keep our eyes on this area as well over the next few days. And as we take you to our forecast for tonight, looking at cloudy conditions, showers around, warm and breezy conditions, so the winds will be increasing tonight with a low temperature of 81 degrees. And tomorrow, intervals of clouds and sunshine with the breezy conditions continuing, humid conditions as well, with a couple of showers working their way into our forecast area. The high temperature tomorrow, that is going to get up to 90 degrees. And when we look at the temperature trending, 82 degrees as you wake up in the morning, that will continue to climb, and we will peak at 90 degrees sometime around 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. Extended weather forecast tomorrow, it's going to be a mixed bag of clouds and sunshine with a few showers in the forecast. But Thursday, we're looking at overcast conditions With scattered showers and thunderstorms, some of them could be heavy at times, and these showers are associated with those outer bands of Helene. But over the weekend, things are looking a lot better with a lot more sunshine working its way into our forecast. Royston?
Thank you, Basil. Looking forward to those sunny days ahead. Well, that does it for news at 11. Thank you for continuing to make ZNS your first choice for news and information. Only the sun covers the Bahamas better than ZNS. Thank you for watching, and good night.
At the Office of the Prime Minister, I'm Devontae Hanno. This is ZNS.
the famous cultural exports produced by the talent of its people to the physical beauty and landmark sites that have helped set it apart. Plus, a serving of its notable cuisine, the Caribbean has successfully carved its own niche upon the global woodwork. Once again, Caribbean Passport is here to deliver even more examples of influential musical institutions, culinary creations, and natural attractions that continue to set this region apart. Please come with us. Trinidad and Tobago's contributions to the global cultural landscape include the steel pan, an iconic instrument that has entertained music fans with its sweet sound for decades. And now, a new event has drawn several elements of pan together, much to the joy of its aficionados.
The steel pan. Renowned for its melodious sounds and heavily associated with the Caribbean, it has long conveyed a cool tropical vibe. On the flip side, there's the relentless energy on display when it comes to steel pan competitions and other events. Well, steel pan lovers were definitely in their element during the inaugural World Steel Pan Festival in Trinidad and Tobago, a celebration of this country's national instrument. The festival featured different events that took place alongside an art exhibition series, which was staged at the Rotunda Gallery, Art Society of Trinidad and Tobago, Stallmeyer's Castle, and the Carnival Museum. The World Steel Pan Conference at the Hyatt Regency Trinidad was a major highlight and involved panel discussions on the sustainability and financing aspects of the steel pan music industry. A particular source of delight were the Panyard Jams, which were hosted by Desperado Steel Orchestra, Arima Angel Harps, and Skiffle Steel Orchestra, and involved performances from a total of 12 steel bands. A difference in pan mediums occurred at the Legacies and Legends concert, which came off at the National Academy for the Performing Arts, where the National Steel Symphony Orchestra took sole possession of the stage and entertained patrons on a very special night. The festival culminated with World Steel Pan Day on August 11th. The highlight of this date was the pre-celebration at Piccadilly Street, the birthplace of the steel pan, and ended with the main activities at Woodford Square. It was the perfect end to a memorable event that left pan lovers clamoring for even more and looking forward to the next edition of the World Steel Pan Festival.
Tickets in high demand, the events tempting. Then there's the tantalizing eats and drinks. This year's edition of the Barbados Food and Rum Festival is advancing ever closer, bringing with it fun-filled and satisfying cuisine experiences, courtesy of the renowned chefs and mixologists. Ensure that you book your spot. See you there.
Barbados continues to assert itself as a top global destination for foodies. The latest milestone came when the Barbados Food and Rum Festival, the 2023 winner, was again nominated for the accolade of the Caribbean's Best Culinary Festival for the upcoming World Culinary Awards, which will be held on October 2nd. Barbados' capital, Bridgetown, is among the finalists for the Caribbean's Best Emerging Culinary City Destination Prize, and the Jean and Norma Holder Hospitality Institute of the Barbados Community College is in line for the title of the Caribbean's Best Culinary Training Institution. The Barbados Food and Rum Festival 2024 will again be singled out by its schedule of exciting events. Oystins Under the Stars traditionally kicks off the festival with an evening of fun and entertainment, feasting on grilled fish, sipping on cocktails, and enjoying the company of an established chef. And Chef Classics is where the masters of the kitchen themselves hold court through a series of cooking demonstrations, during which they give valuable culinary advice, while Rum Route on the same day involves a journey through the world of Barbados' rum industry. If you're a 24/7 partier, well, the Rise and Rum Breakfast Beach Party is the all-inclusive event for you. Premium breakfast cuisine, exquisite rum cocktails, and top-notch entertainment will definitely make this fete worth the time on the seaside. Journey of Foods Restaurant Night involves memorable meals being prepared by top chefs at some of Barbados' top restaurants. Finally, there's Liquid Gold Feast, an all-inclusive event hemmed by outstanding chefs serving up delectable dishes, plus mixologists with their ultra-creative cocktails. A prominent theme of the Barbados Food and Rum Festival 2024 is Feed the Future, which is focused on cultivating the next generation of great chefs